today. Certainly not as severe as yesterday. We join Kasia Bodurka now. She is live in Angus, Ontario. And Kasia, some of the damage is certainly impressive, to say the least.
It is. It's really scary and so humbling to see, Emily. It's one thing to hear about tornado watches and warnings, to see the images on social media, but to be here in person, see the debris just spewed around, the damage to the homes, the sheds just torn up right in front of me. It's almost amazing. It's incredible to see. As you had mentioned earlier in the show, this was an EF2 tornado which touched down in the region, winds in excess of 100K. The really incredible news in all of this is that there have been no major injuries sustained as a result of this, Emily. Of course, there was a state of emergency declared because this was, in fact, a tornado. Aid will be coming to the community. And, of course, there is going to be a press conference at 8 a.m. at a local high school. Tom? Absolutely, and I imagine there are so many people that are still shaken from this, shocked by what happened, because a lot of the people that we had spoken to yesterday when we had exclusive access to this neighborhood, we were in the homes of some of these people. They were saying that they never thought that this would happen to them. It was like a scene of a movie, Tom. But here I'm going to show you an eerie scene as well. I don't know if you can get it on camera here, but we're trying to get you this image. You can actually see the bedroom. You can see somebody's bed almost hanging out of the house, and there's no wall. There's no wall. It's just unbelievable. All right, I'm going to send it to you inside, Emily, with more on this weather story as it unfolds.
Thanks, Kasia. Well,
yeah, it's absolutely scary when you see it. Humbling, Tom, when you see all of this debris, the fences cut up, shredded up, thrown around all over these fields. Homes, well, at least 40 of them are severely damaged. You can see even just right here, this is a shed that's just been twisted up, kayaks thrown around. It's really something else. But of course, the human story, Tom, is that everybody's okay. They're just really shaken up. They've never seen anything like this. They say, it's like the scene of a movie. Today, we're going to be going live from a press conference not too long from now at 8 a.m. Emily, but right now to you with your long range.
Guys with the Scotiabank Gold American Express
card has been declared in the township of Angus, not too far from Barrie, and you can see why. Have a look at this mess behind me. It's absolutely scary when you see all this debris, the fence literally shredded up by Mother Nature. This was an EF2 tornado which touched down. This means winds were in excess of 180 kilometers per hour when this severe thunderstorm ripped through this area last night around dinner time. The amazing news, having a look at all of this damage, it's hard to believe that nobody was seriously hurt. So that's great, great news. We're going to be going live from a press conference at 8 a.m. From a nearby high school to bring you the latest info on what's happening with this community and the people that live in it. Back to you inside.
The most cars in one place.
Not every day that you see this kind of damage resulting from a massive thunderstorm. At one point, we had so many tornado watches and warnings right across central and southern Ontario yesterday. I haven't seen anything like that in years. Now, as a result, unfortunately, a tornado did in fact touch down. This was assessed and confirmed by Environment Canada yesterday, right after the storm touched down, an EF2 tornado. That means winds over 180 You can see all the damage, massive debris everywhere. You can see the fences just torn up. And further into the neighborhood, of course, we have several homes that literally don't have roofs anymore, just torn off by Mother Nature. With more on this story and your weather story to you inside. We come to you live from Natawasaga Secondary School just outside of Angus, not too far from the neighborhood that was devastated by the tornado yesterday. We were live from there just moments ago. We showed you the massive damage associated with the tornado. It was an EF2 tornado, by the way, which struck the neighborhood. Roofs completely thrown off their homes, debris all over the place. You can imagine the scene, and we will show you those pictures again. But right now we're just waiting for a scrum, a press conference to begin. The members of the OPP, they'll be letting us know who can come back to their homes, where is it safe, and what is the action plan ultimately, and how can we help. Now, with more on the weather story for today, I'm going to send it back to you inside.
Tornado touchdown in Angus, Ontario yesterday. Kasia Bodurka is going to be live at the press conference coming up today.
No, I think you got me. Okay, well, at this point, there are a lot of things still up in the air right now. A lot of building inspectors, engineers, well, essentially people assessing the damage right now to determine who can go into their homes and who can't. So at this point, nothing is known. There will be another meeting scheduled for 11 for media, so we'll be there as well. At 2 p.m., there's a meeting scheduled for residents affected by this, which, by the way, there are now 100 homes. The tally is 100 homes that have been damaged by this EF2 tornado. So plenty of people affected by this, Emily. And again, at this point, we don't know too much, but we'll know a little bit more for the 11 o'clock conference.
The damage behind her.
It's not every day that you see this kind of damage resulting from a massive thunderstorm. At one point, we had so many tornado watches and warnings right across central and southern Ontario yesterday. I haven't seen anything like that in years. Now, as a result, unfortunately, a tornado did in fact touch down. This was assessed and confirmed by Environment Canada yesterday, right after the storm touched down, an EF2 tornado. That means winds over 180K. You can see all the damage, massive debris everywhere. You can see the fences just torn up. And further into the neighborhood, of course, we have several homes that literally don't have roofs anymore, just torn off by Mother Nature. With more on this story and your weather story to you inside.
Trade bad weather for blue skies with the Scotiabank Gold American Express card.
Going live from Angus, Ontario, where just last night the oh, pardon me. I think there are some technical issues. I believe are we going live? Okay, thank you. Pardon me. Chris May, we're just outside of a high school. There was a conference here not too long ago, and members of the OPP and the mayor, as well as the fire chief, were indicating that right now there's not a lot known about the extent to the damage at this point. There's been a lot of structural damage to about 100 homes, so people don't know whether they can go back in their homes today or not. Another meeting is scheduled for later on. We will be live from there as well. But in the meantime, we're showing you some more damage just outside of this high school. And if you look across the street here, these trees, they're massive. They're huge trees that are completely blown over. And for this reason, so many people are left without power as well within central and southern Ontario. Chris?
Live on location, continuing coverage as things continue to unfold there, and a lot of damage behind you.
Absolutely, Chris. And you mentioned those really strong winds and the 15 minutes of terrifying, moments for these people of Angus. Take a look at the trees behind me. They're just snapped like twigs, these massive mature trees. And this is the area just outside of the community that was most devastated by this EF2 tornado. Approximately 100 homes have been damaged. Approximately 300 people have been affected. A lot of these people are not at home, and none of them actually stayed in the community centers that were available for people to go to if they didn't have shelter. So the good news is a lot of these people, they do have friends and family that they stayed with. Right now, building assessors are going through the area determining whether people can go in or not and how safe it is to do so. And the OPP are actually escorting people into their homes that do in fact need things like medication, those really necessary items. There's going to be several meetings scheduled for today. We'll be here as well for this, and we'll be continuing to bring you the latest, Chris, when it comes to how this story is unfolding and, the devastation. But the good news is that not a lot of injuries, no significant injuries, in fact.
Yeah.
A state of emergency has been declared in the township of Angus, not too far from Barrie, and you can see why. Have a look at this mess behind me. It's absolutely scary when you see all this debris, the fence literally shredded up by Mother Nature. This was an EF2 tornado which touched down. This means winds were in excess of 180 kilometers per hour when this severe thunderstorm ripped through this area last night around dinner time. The amazing news, having a look at all of this damage, it's hard to believe that nobody was seriously hurt. So that's great, great news. We're going to be going live from a press conference at 8 a.m. From a nearby nearby high school to bring you the latest info on what's happening with this community and the people that live in it. Back to you inside.
The day after, Kasia, you have been wildly busy so far today. Great work getting in on that press conference. We've learned so much from that already. What can you report now? Unfortunately, we're having still some technical difficulties.
$1 million prize draws plus the jackpot every draw in June.
All morning, and at 6:30 it was quiet as ever, but eerie as ever. Seeing all this damage behind me now, there's a lot of traffic, as you can imagine. We've got crews from Parks and Recreation trying to help clean up. We've got volunteers that live in the nearby community. What they're basically doing is separating debris that basically flew from across the street in this field, and they're trying to separate this debris, what's garbage, what's salvageable. They're also taking down trees and chopping down trees as well. What a mess, really. And the only good news, Chris, is that no major injuries. There have been 3 minor injuries associated with this EF2 tornado that touched down in Angus, Ontario. But besides that, it's basically a miracle that no one's really hurt.
Yeah, there's certainly that. I got to be honest with you. At the end of the school year, 1985, Barrie, I was at Eastview High. The one year I went to Eastview High School, and I was on cleanup crew. I know exactly what these people are going through, even though it was 30 years ago.
Review your compatible matches for free.
You're watching the Weather Network on this extremely interesting, stunning weather day where we take a look at the wreckage associated with an EF2 tornado that did touch down in Angus, Ontario last night. Have a look at this mess. You could see people's personal belongings tangled in with fences and patio furniture. It's really astounding to see, I have to say. But the beauty in all of this, there are a lot of volunteers out helping to clean up and to go through a lot of this mess. And they're saying so many people do want to come out and so many people do want to help. And there was something like 300 people affected by this tornado yesterday, and there was no need for temporary shelter. Everybody was taken care of by the local community. So that's the beauty of it all. And also the fact that there were no major injuries, Chris.
Lake Retirement Living.
Right now,
Ontario's
building
most
assessors are
affordable
going
retirement
through this damage,
community.
are going through these homes affected by a tornado that struck Angus, Ontario last night. Also, right now, we've got members of the OPP escorting people that need to come back into their homes to pick up their essentials, people that rely on their medications and whatnot. So they're going through their homes or to their homes very briefly to pick up these items. And of course, people can't stay here right now. There's just been too much damage. They weren't able to spend the night last night as well, Chris. There were temporary, shelters set up for these people, but the good news is they didn't need it. The community's really pulling together. There are plenty of volunteers trying to help clean this mess up as well, and going through the debris and determining what's salvageable and what's not. We'll continue to go live from this area, and there's another press conference scheduled for 11 o'clock, and we'll find out a little bit more information at that time. Chris?
Cash, before I let you go, can you give us a sense of the mood of people there? You said you've got some great inspirational stories, but you talked to a lot of people. What's the mood there right now?
Yeah. Well, people that have been affected directly, yeah, they're a little upset. They're still very shaken up by this, Chris, but they're so relieved. They use the word relieved that nobody really got hurt and there have been no real casualties.
Thank you very much. That's huge. That's massive. Thank you so much. Leave it to me to ask a question to Kasia the second a helicopter passes right over her head. Ah, yes. Chris Murphy's Law.